Hi, hello, namaskara. Welcome to Co-Corner. Preethi and Prashant. Preethi, I've known you as a singer mostly, and Mr. Prashant as Preethi's husband. So, if we have to really begin, and I know that you've actually had a very adventurous life, from whatever I've heard from Preethi. So, let's begin from where did you all meet up, first of all?
Okay, so firstly, thank you so much for having us and making our story worth listening to. So it makes us very happy. Thank you. We met. Do you want to start?
Thank you again. Thank you very much from my side too. And yes, of course, we met in college, and
MS
I was
Ramaya.
MS Ramaya Engineering College.
But did you both go to the same branch also? Did you both study the same branch as well?
Yes. We both are civil engineers. She's 2 years junior to me.
Yeah.
And me being in the final year at that time, we had this episode of, in fact, bringing up the freshers' talent. So that's when we gathered all the youngsters who had just joined the department. The department
Okay.
freshers hunt. And that's where I first heard her sing.
He
And that's
auditioned
how-
me, in fact.
In fact, I auditioned.
He's from the theatre background. He does my.
But he also plays guitar very well, that much I know.
Yes. I've picked up guitar about a couple of years back. And yes, now, just use it for some jamming here and there.
So did music bring you both together, or the engineering brains brought you both together, or it could be something more?
Well, I think the destiny brought us together, but then the music took us all the way from there. Yeah,
Music, I think initially it was music.
correct.
We used to meet a lot because we used to perform within the department for a few events within civil engineering department. So we ended up singing a duet for that event.
Yeah.
And then he introduced me to the college music band. So I started performing here and there, and he used to be there. He used to always be in the audience wherever I'm performing in college or outside.
Acha.
So,
Very sweet, actually.
so that's how, yeah.
That's
we
how
met.
the journey started. In fact, yeah.
So Preeti, if we have to really talk about your musical journey, when did you start it off, and then when did it take off to becoming a stage performer? Because it must have been a lot many years of practice that would have gone into whatever you are today as a performer, Allah, on stage. So when did it start? Who was your guru?
So I think I started. Music has been part of my life forever because my mom also used to sing. She used to teach. My grandmom is a music teacher. She also plays veena. So whether it's summer holidays or during school times, music used to be playing continuously at home. Either it used to be Subbalakshmi's voice
Acha.
at home or Lata Mangeshkar's voice.
Oh.
Both my parents were very musically inclined. So they recognized they have a very good voice, I think at a very early age. So my first music class, I think, was at the age of 5.5.
Uh-huh.
We were in Coimbatore back then. So I started learning from Mrs. Usha Sukumar. She was a Erin All India radio artist back then.
Okay.
So I started learning Carnatic music with her. And then I think around my 9th or 10th, I moved to Bangalore.
Okay.
And here I started learning Hindustani music as well. My mom recognized that I have a very good range, and if that has to develop, I also have to learn other genres of classical music. So then I started learning Sugama Sangita, a little of Hindustani music. So that helped me develop my scale. I could sing in all scales. After I started learning Hindustani, I could, I started training my voice better. Sugama Sangita I learned from Ganesh Desai sir. I was in 8th or 9th standard back then.
Okay.
He used to stay very close to my place. So Ganesh Desai sir, I learned how I can use classical music basics in light music. How I can actually emote emotions in my voice when I started learning Bhavagite and Sugama Sangita from sir. So that's when I learned that aspect. And I think my first stage performance was at the age of 8
Acha.
or 9 in Coimbatore. Art of Living satsangs used to happen very regularly where we stayed. And there was one uncle, our neighbor, who really liked my song. And once he just took me, he said, sing a bhajan that you've learnt in school. And that day I still remember, I think after I sang, the entire audience, somebody from the audience stood up and said, we want to look at this girl who sang, because we couldn't see her. I was very small back then. And then they made me stand and they all clapped. And that's when I realized, okay, my voice does stand out, and there is something when I sing, people really like it. So that's
Connect
when I
with it.
first realized, and Then I started taking my classes more seriously. I started listening to different types of music. Instruments I did not learn back then. I think I got introduced to a lot of instruments after I came to college. Till then, my family was always like, concentrate on your voice, do your
Vocals.
classes well, nurture your voice, always try different genres. So this is what they always encouraged me. So I started performing in satsangs very regularly till almost my 9th or 10th.
Beautiful way to begin also,
Yes.
actually.
Yeah, and I think the Art of Living bhajans were very soothing. I would enjoy singing myself. I would finish school, go to my friend's place, practice for 2 hours with the tabla, with the instrumentalists, and then go perform. So at least weekly twice I would be performing somewhere in Coimbatore. We had like a team, we would be traveling around and performing. Then when I moved to Bangalore, I think I did not sing in Art of Living satsangs here because I had reached my 10th by then, had my board exams. And in college, I got introduced to Bollywood singing. We would always sing Bollywood numbers at home, especially the classical based. Because
Correct.
we all had a taste for that genre of music. But when I started performing in college, I realized how much people actually enjoy classical based
true.
numbers.
It's
Yes.
true. Actually, people think the other way around and they want to cater to whatever the larger mass will actually respond physically. But mentally and then, emotionally and spiritually, I think they all connect to that organic form of music also. I think this is something that most of us actually forget while we are preparing the song list also to cater to the audience. When you're putting up a show, we always think from the point of view of an audience because they danced for ooh la la la. But you never
Correct,
think
yes.
that they can also get connected. And it seems nowadays all the musicians are also talking about it, saying that give them something that they will also understand, elevate them.
Right.
Don't just elevate yourself. When you give this kind of music is when they will also elevate to the level that they will actually assimilate and then understand and then react and respond and feel good about it. That's the only way you can actually enlighten them, is
Very
what they
true.
say nowadays.
Correct.
Very true. I think this recent OTT show that's come, Bandish Bandits, that was, I think,
So beautiful.
very instrumental in elevating
Yeah.
people's knowledge about classical music,
Correct.
gharana music.
Correct.
A lot of people who didn't know about it
Correct.
learned it through that because it also had fusion music. It did attract different audience, and today we have a season 2 of it also.
Yes.
So yeah, very true.
Yeah, we need everything. We're not, trying to demean any other genre, but then also respect this and then give it its place, because everything originated from there.
Correct.
Exactly. Yes.
So, how did your theatre background start off, Mr. Prashant?
Theatre background, if I may say that in terms of music and art, firstly it runs in my family too. I am a second generation officer. My father's also been in
Oh,
but because of that, the connection with my grandfather and all my cousins and relatives used to happen only during those 1 or 2 months of time that I used to come down along with my parents for leave. So my great grandfather was a lyricist, and unke time pe they used to compose songs, they used to sing together, and from there the music has come down. My bade papa, my father's eldest brother, he learned Hindustani classical, and he was an all India radio singer back then, and he used to perform. And wahan se the in terms of music has filtered down all through all generations in the family. And
Your uncle was also into street plays, right?
correct, yes. And then music came from Bade Papa side. And in terms of theatre and art, my all chachas, I had 2-3 brothers of my father, and they started doing street plays. And street plays back in Hubli. And these were called those small enactments of mythological characters and historical characters, and they used to perform on these streets, and that's how the theatre started coming inside the family.
super.
Yeah.
Both of you, since you had the heart for art, I think that could also be, as you said, one of the reasons why you both came together also.
Yes.
when did it actually tickle that, yeah, she is the one for me and he is the one for me? And the Preeti, I mean, see, it would have taken some time, Allah, for you to also understand the whole relationship and then to come to terms with, okay, I want to settle down with this man that I want to wake up with every day. So, adu college time alle aita, athwa did it happen much later or after you quit college? I really am interested to know your love story. As simple as that.
We're very happy. Thank you. I think it was not love at first sight for sure. For me at least. I always liked, I think what I always adored in him, even when we were friends, was how he treated other people. For me, that was very important. He always was very kind to people. Even today, I think he's the kindest person I know. The way he treats elders, the way he talks to kids, I think these really define a person's character. So I always liked how he treated juniors in college, how
So
he
true.
spoke to them. So
Makes a difference, definitely.
Yes. So that is something that was the first I think I liked about him. Along with the smile, of course. I like the smile too. It happened over a period of time. I think we were in college for what, 2 years?
2 years together.
2 years together. And then he graduated and he moved to Chennai. So those 2 years in college, I had gotten used to he staying around me always. Whether I'm in shows or I'm in the canteen, even only when I'm in class, he would not be around. All the other times, people would see he would be with my batch more than his own.
Yeah.
So I had gotten used to having him around, whether it's my exams, internals. Because he was a senior, he was always there to help me with my notes, etc. So when he graduated, I felt the void. That okay. Then I started realizing what value add he was actually doing.
What was happening with you at that point in time, Mr. Prashant?
After graduation or during this during the college time?
Well, she was actually in the college and you had graduated. She's feeling the word and
He had already proposed by then.
Yes. I mean, in fact, the 2 years that we stayed together, and I would, firstly, of course, I fell for her voice. And the second reason was there was a kind of connect that we had in terms of the way we looked at each other in the college. And that kept me always coming back to her. And I would find time in terms of between my classes, between the breaks, and wherever we used to get that time where probably I want to do some kind of a group study, I would interfere them, in fact, her and her group, and sometimes act a little bossy by the virtue of me being a senior, try to sit together and teach them and all that, but main intention was to spend time with her. And that's
So
how...
Kabir Singh happened much earlier.
Oh, yeah.
He was a very kind Kabir.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's how we bonded. I think that...
So I think even before he graduated, he had already proposed me. And I had told him I'm not interested. I had very clear...
yeah.
So anybody who knows me from college knew I wanted to work for a year, do my MS in US and settle there. That was my path
She had
drawn out for
drawn out
myself.
for her. Correct.
So my sister was like my role model and I always wanted to do this. I was very clear. And I was always worried because love marriage has this taboo that you get distracted. You go off track. This is what... elders always keep telling us.
Correct.
When you get involved with someone, you are distracted.
Correct.
You don't concentrate on your career, and so that was something I was very scared
Taken
about.
kind of taboo, probably,
I
in
was very
college
scared
times.
about, and I didn't want to get
I think,
into it.
this is a typical middle class conservative family
Correct.
mindset.
Yes.
All
Yes.
of us have been told this, and that's the formula also that's being given when you are sent to college.
Yeah.
Study, come back home, nothing anywhere else. Don't get
Don't
distracted.
get distracted.
Yeah. But here it was there's a twist in the story because when he proposed me, I said, see, I'm not interested. I don't want to get into all this. You first get a job, I'll get a job, we will see. And then I think in one of the shows, he was sitting in the audience and he happened to meet my mom. And he proposed my mom directly.
So sweet.
He said, I really like your daughter. I'm going to marry her, but I will not distract her. I'm not going to trouble her. I'm, however, getting graduated now, but I will wait.
That was a dramatic kind of a scene wherein I got to know, since I had already proposed her, I wanted to bridge that gap and how much ever possible, wanted to spend as much time as together. However, as soon as she got to know, and then her friend circle, herself,
They're all like
her
this
principals
protective wall around me.
started creating the distance between us in terms of, making her protective that way. So about this show also, I got to know that she's performing somewhere nearby college from somebody else with a undernote saying that please don't go there because she'll be surrounded by her all family and friends and parents and everyone.
Parents are going to be there. Huh?
Thinking that probably in anticipation I'll create some kind of chaos over there. But then of course
He came.
I came. So challenge accepted. It was like that.
So what was the mother's reaction when you said that?
So the way I
broke the
introduced, I
ice.
said, Amma, please come. This is Prashant. Prashant, this is my mum. Amma, it seems he likes me. Please talk to him. I'm not interested. And I walked out. That was how I introduced him to my mum.
The auntie was very, very sweet. Very,
Yeah.
very sweet. And I, in fact, told her that this is how it is. Yeah, I like your daughter. And I'm not sure where and how my journey is going to be after passing out from college. But I'm surely going to be committed to her. And she said yes. And
She said, don't worry.
don't worry, yeah.
Both of you get
Both
settled,
of you
and
get
if you
settled.
still like each other, we don't mind. You're from the we
How
are both
nice.
Brahmins, so we don't have any problem. And then that day at home, my parents made me sit, and they're like, "What is your problem? He's such a nice guy. He's a Brahmana. No, ninge problem. Yaak hinge adtidiya, Papa Hudgan. Why are you torturing him?" I said, "Oh my God, this is totally against what you've taught me all these years. Why are you confusing me?" They said, "Okay, you don't have to go say yes immediately. Take your time, spend time with each other. You'll get to know and all of that." So I think I said, okay, I will not. We will stay friends. I have to get my dream job first, and then we will decide what to do.
That was logical also. In
Yes.
fact, we had a 2 years difference. So I completed from my college, graduated. I moved out with my job, and she still had 2 years to
But did
finish.
you move into immediately after that, or
No,
were you?
no. I mean, graduating as a civil engineer, I got into another civil engineering company. I moved to Chennai, and I worked there for about 2.5 years. And the dream
Was
of-
it your mission to always get into the Prashant? Was
Well,
that always
somewhere probably deep down inside, I always wanted to get back into the profession of course. Being a second generation author, my father has always been my idol in this way, and he spent about 33 years in. And most of my childhood times I have spent with him in the office, after my school times, and he's exposed me to a variety of sports, cultural activities, as well as fitness regime.
they come
and all
with a
that.
different DNA?
Exactly.
Sir.
Yeah. So I've always been inclined towards it, but my dad never forced me to, or never said that, see if
have
you can, you have to get into the. Never said that. So after completing my civil engineering, I got into a civil engineering firm, worked with Chennai Metro for about 2 years. I moved from there to Bangalore, worked with another company there in a civil engineering firm. And then I thought probably, let's
He was not happy.
I was not happy. I was not, in fact, happy. The kind of adrenaline rush, the kind of challenge that I was expecting in the professional life, that I was missing somewhere. So maybe after 3.5 years of my professional life, I thought, let's
Give it a try.
give it a try.
Yeah.
And then it was just clockwork after that. I got my interview cleared, got my medicals cleared, and then got the call letter from the academy.
So we had
and
made a
then-
pact. I had no idea about. So he told me there's an SSB interview in Bhopal. So then I went and Googled about SSB because I was so ignorant. I had no idea about. So then I realized it's a 6 or 7 day interview process, and the people who clear it the first time is less than 2-3%. Most of them clear it in their second or third. A lot of them in fifth or sixth
Fifth or
attempt.
sixth attempt.
So I said okay. You have one attempt. Go for it. If you clear it, then okay. If not, we will both write GRE and we're flying off.
Yeah.
This was our pact. And I was somewhere in the back of my mind very confident. It will not happen the first time.
You're very mean, Preethi.
I was very practical from then. So, no. So I also prayed for him to clear actually. I don't know why. But he cleared it the first time. The first attempt he cleared, and I think in the civil engineering vertical
I
he
was merit
topped.
one.
He was merit one.
merit
So
one in that.
so then I did not have. I could not take my words back, and I was like, okay, fine, we'll go ahead with this
Go
now.
ahead with this.
So actually, when did it tickle? that you know that you both are for each other, Anta?
During those 2 years that we stayed together, I mean, in the college, that time she had a lot of stage performances in the college level, at the department level, then at the college fest. And then there came one event which was Voice of Bangalore. And we used to spend a lot of time. I mean, I used to spend a lot of time with her and her group, always getting attached to that group like a magnet, you know, from the senior batch. मैं अपने दोस्तों के साथ, with my friends, I wouldn't interact much, but I would be there with that group. And then that time period of about a month and a half started, where she started attending the rehearsals of Voice of Bangalore and of stage performance and practices. And that's where I think I felt that I am getting closer to her. And on the stage when she performed the final performance where she won, then when she...
From MS Ramaya, I was selected.
Yeah,
I
from
won.
MS Ramaya, she
Yeah.
got selected. And she came down the stage. That's when I realized that, yes, this is it.
And for you, Preeti?
For me, I think it was a little later. We had gone to a fest, VTU Fest. It was a 5 or 7 day event. So he was into many events, theatre, mime, fashion show. I was in a music event. So I was there for 2 days. He was there for 7 days, I believe. So those 2 days, we were in a different college, and we spent almost 24 hours together, unless I had rehearsals with my team. He made sure I was comfortable. He knew I was not very... I would not go out like this with friends very often. I was very reserved to my college and my home. That's how I used to spend time with friends. Even friends would come home most of the time. So he made sure I was comfortable. He made sure I tried new dishes when we were there. He took me to a cafe. So I think the second day when I was, after my music event was over, I decided to head back home. I didn't stay back for the entire fest. So on my way back to college, it was a 1.5 hour ride. I don't know what happened. I was continuously crying in the bus, sitting alone, and I realized, oh my God, this was not my life plan. How did I fall in love with him? I was very shocked. I thought I can always control what I'm thinking, control my mind, and how am I getting so attached to him? And I think a week or later, I told my parents that I think I'm in love with him. But I promise you, I'm not going to get distracted from my goal that I have. He's going to be my strength. This much I'll assure you. He's never going to be my weakness ever. He's going to help me do better in life. Never will he be my distraction. This much I promised my parents, and they were like, we know, you please chill. Chill you with your life, it's fine. So that is how, then I think I told him, after he graduated, I still waited. After he graduated, I told him.
I went to Chennai, and then it was a long distance call.
Long distance call. Over a
Where
call,
I
I
got to know
told
that,
him,
that she
I
likes
think
me.
I'm in love with you now, and we should plan our life ahead together. So that is how I think that was September 14th, 2009.
See, yeah. That's how particular she is.
Yeah.
Super. So from being a civil engineer to a learning strategist, how did that shift take place in your life, Preeti?
So I actually got into my dream job. I got into a most high-paid company of civil engineering department. It was at W.S. Atkins. So I got into a project that was an international project where I was designing, structural designing for a airport in Middle East. So I worked there for almost 1.5 years. So the work was good. I used to really enjoy it. During that period, I got into a singing reality show called Voice of Karnataka. I think Public TV had just launched back then. And it was this format where you go and stay with the other contestants in a resort for 6 months. You get trained. So Manomurthy sir was the mentor.
ಎಲ್ಲ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿತ್ತು. Only thing is overdoing of the Sanskrit. Shruti was also okay, not bad.
So
Deva?
that was very interesting because Manomurthy sir was making such beautiful songs in that the last
Correct.
2 years. So I was wondering what to do, and my family, everybody said, no, you can take this chance. It's a 6 months break. Please go and try your luck. So I think I came to the finals of Voice of Karnataka. And then when I came back to working, because I was doing shows, but that was not like a full-time, I could not earn my livelihood fully from
Correct.
just the shows. So I knew I will always be working full-time and doing pursuing my passion parallelly. So then I got into Prestige Group. So the kind of work an Indian company was doing in construction field to what I had experienced in Atkins was very, very different. So when I was working in Prestige for almost a year and a half, it was just by chance. There was a training that had to happen for a technical topic on some interesting construction material that had come into the market, and the person who had to train had to take a sick leave. So one of my VPs called me and he said, will you do this? Because they knew I was very comfortable on stage. They all knew I would perform, and I loved talking always. So they just said, you have half day, maybe you can read about it. And I delivered the session and everybody really liked it. And then I realized this made me really happy. When I was standing there and talking about a topic and had people challenging my thoughts and I could answer it, that gave me that really, not an adrenaline rush, but it made me really happy. And then I started exploring options of doing a dual role of being in the L&D also and doing my technical role too. And luckily my director back then was very supportive. He was an IIM Ahmedabad graduate and he could see that I had the interest and maybe also some skill in it. So I did that role for a couple of years, and then I did a few certifications in learning and development, and I moved to complete behavioral trainings. After that, I worked for a Japanese firm in their L&D team. Now I work for a NetTech company, which is part of Manipal Group, where I design training programs, I deliver topics related to behavioral training, etc.
Is it transferable, or do you have this option of working from wherever you are?
So I joined this firm when COVID hit. So I joined as a remote employee. So after when the COVID went off and people started working from office, he was transferred to Sikkim. And luckily I had already built that rapport with the team and they gave me an option to work remotely.
Super.
So that's how I've been
That's
able
how
to continue working, doing things I really like, with
Being
along
with
with
me.
staying with him. Yeah.